And I got to say, I said it the other night and I'm doubling down. People owe Erika Kirk an apology. And I saw people turn around on me and they said, well, you were the first one to criticize her. Yeah, it's a matter of taste. I said that to do the pyrotechnics at the funeral, in my opinion, was in poor taste. To assume control of the organization, I thought was a little premature. But people like Candace Owens, last week she said, I hope Erika Kirk lives a long life so she can be tortured by the guilt of killing her husband until she dies. And that's a little different. It's one thing to say pyrotechnics, sequin, pantsuit, not what I would have done. Maybe a little inappropriate. They say that's a turning point way. That's a little peculiar. I think it's a little something entirely to say, and I hope she lives a long life so she's tortured by the guilt. It's like, yeah, that's a little different. So I honestly feel bad for her. And I doubt she even likes me because I did criticize her. And I doubt Turning Point likes me. But I feel bad for these people. As much as I disagree with them, as much as there's a ton of bad blood between them and me, there's no love lost at all. But could you imagine your husband gets murdered, you try to pick up the pieces, you try to move on with his legacy and organization in whatever way. Like I said, I don't have to agree with it. They did it the way they felt was appropriate. And people are screaming out, calling you a pedophile. You're worried about you getting assassinated by some nut job. It's insane. And there needs to be accountability for that. When there are, let's recognize, I'm going to say this at the outset, then we're going to move on to some other stuff too. But I want to say this first, just while it's fresh. In my opinion, this is a very bad situation for alternative media. Make no mistake about it. This is bad. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the reason that alternative media became so popular is because it was filling a gap. There was a need for it. Why? Because the legacy mainstream media, we all knew, was lying about everything. And not small things, big things. We knew the mainstream media was lying about Trump. And we knew they were lying about BLM and COVID and the war in Iraq and 9/11 and a lot of big things. A lot of big things were swept under the rug, or there was misdirection or outright lies. We all know that alternative media, the reason you're watching a 27-year-old live streamer is because the New York Times, the Washington Post is a regulated press. They're filtering the world. They're showing you what they want you to see. But let me tell you, this situation with the Charlie Kirk conspiracy, this is a major blow to the credibility of all these alternative media people. And it's not just Candace. Candace obviously is the biggest name in that space, but it's also Ian Carroll. And it's also Sean Ryan, who had Candace on the show. And I like Sean, but that was a platform for this a week before it blew up. Kind of just bad timing, I guess. Everybody that promoted this conspiracy and said it like it was the gospel truth. This is going to be a really big hit against them. And I think that I've been saying it all year. I really think that alternative media has become a bubble. I think it reached a high watermark. And I think we have handed a huge advantage back to the legacy media. I think a lot of normal people are getting a little bit of fatigue because they're seeing what is going on in these spaces. And when Candace Owens is preaching to the choir, they're gassing her up. Rah, rah, rah. Yeah, you get it. Go Max, Charlie's Army, all this. But I think normal people, I think your average person, I think they're quietly taking a step back and they're saying, you know what? This is getting a little too crazy for me.
Dude, I am so confused. Like, what happened with Nick Fuentes? Like, is he working for the FBI at this point? Like, is he a federal agent himself? Like, this guy, now he is gonna defend Erika Kirk. Like, are you kidding me? Like, the most suspicious widow in the whole world. And now he's gonna defend her. First you attacked her, and now you're gonna say that, like, Candace is wrong and that, like, everything about Charlie Kirk, that's real, that the evidence is real. You just believe everything what the FBI tells you. Maybe he is working for the FBI himself. Like, excuse me. As you guys know, normally I always agree with Nick, but he is so wrong on this whole case, and he has no idea. He really thinks that he is a smart guy, calling out Candace Owens and things. Dude, you have no idea about this whole case, and then you're telling other people who are actually investigating this case that they are wrong, that they are sharing conspiracy theories. Dude, just shut up. Like, you have no idea where you're talking about. If you really believe the FBI narrative, Nick, that says already enough to me, to be honest.
This seems like bullshit. This isn't true. Okay, you had me with the USS Liberty was an intentional attack on the United States Navy. But you start talking about aliens and you're talking about remote viewing and time travel and astral projection and extrasensory perception and all this, and now this Charlie Kirk thing blowing up in your face. People are saying, you know what? Maybe the New York Times isn't so bad. People are saying, you know what? Maybe the legacy media is not that bad. So this is why I was so concerned. Now you get it. Now you see. Now you see. People for 10 months, people were going to their audience and fanning the flames of this conspiracy with no evidence. It was never guided by the facts, ever. There was never anything to substantiate it. All they had was speculation. All they had was these sarcastic, smug, little rhetorical quips. Oh, you really believe the government narrative? Oh, you really believe the government? That's all they ever had. Misdirection, misinformation, this gish galloping. One thing's debunked, the next thing. That's debunked, on to the next. And all along, I told you this is hurting our credibility badly. And when Tyler Robinson is convicted, I know these people, they don't see further out. They don't see further out than 1 or 2 weeks or the next day in the soap opera, the serial where we're printing money. They never anticipated what's going to happen when Tyler Robinson, as sure as I'm sitting here, as sure as the sun comes up in the morning, is in court, is at the trial, pleads guilty. There's a chance he's going to plead guilty. What happens when he signs a confession and gets life without the possibility of parole? What happens when he goes to trial, found guilty, death penalty? They're still coping. The video's never going to come out. If it does, it's AI. If the video comes out, well, Tyler Robinson will kill himself and there'll be a note. It's like, so what happened to journalism? What happened to journalism? And I literally saw tweets like this today. I saw some people saying, well, we all know how this is going to end. Tyler Robinson's going to be found dead in his cell with a confession note, more Fed slop. And I want to say, that's not journalism. We just had 5 days of a preliminary hearing where the state presented their evidence. It's pretty damning. But rather than look at any of that or intellectually deal with these things, they're going to talk about something that has not happened, which they are predicting in the future, something which they cannot possibly know. Oh, 5 days worth of forensic, physical, digital, written evidence? That's probably all fake, body doubles, decoys, AI. But what we have now in time is all this evidence that Tyler Robinson is the guy. You know, people were just asking questions. Oh, we're not allowed to ask questions about it. Well, here's all your evidence. Oh, the evidence is all fake. Okay. So this is no bueno. And now I think you see why I jumped off the ship. Because I'm ahead of the curve. That's the difference. All these other people, they are behind the curve, and so they can't see when the wave has crested. They can't see over the hill. I started to get this feeling a year ago. In September, October, I said, you know what? These people don't know what they're talking about. They don't care about the truth. They're promoting falsehoods. When they're pushed on it, instead of adapting and getting better, there's this weird cult-like mentality. Anybody that's not going to go all the way on every conspiracy is part of the conspiracy. You don't believe Charlie was killed by Israel? You're with Israel. That's how it went. And so I said, this is not good. This is on its way out. This is on its way out. It's attracting all the wrong people. The incentives are wrong. Now here we are. Now you see. Now my credibility is intact.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? Nick, you are the one right now who is completely destroying his own credibility with all this nonsense. Like, what makes you believe that everything what the FBI tells you, that's real? Maybe they're lying as well. They have been doing this multiple times in the past. I think you're pretty naive if you just believe anything what they tell you, and then you're gonna make fun or call out other people who still try to investigate this case. That says more about you, Nick, than about these other people, because I think this whole case, what happened with Charlie Kirk, I think we can all confirm that it was super shady, super suspicious, and we barely know anything about it. Like, all this evidence, what they're sharing with us now, a little bit too late, right? Maybe it's all fake. How do I know that that's real? Because if this was a political assassination, of course they're trying to do almost everything to cover this up. Of course they will try to do almost everything to make sure that the people will never ever find out what actually happened with this case, because that's always how they do this. JFK, 9/11, this is just how it goes. And then you really believe, sorry, but I just think that like Nick Fuentes is almost like a federal agent at this point. He's working for the FBI, like trying to trick us that we are wrong, and suddenly like you and the FBI, they're right. Are you kidding me? I think it's very good that at least we still have some people left who try to investigate this case, like a Candace, like an Ian Carroll, and then you're gonna call these people out. You just go side by side with the FBI. I don't know, like very suspicious, Nick, very suspicious.
Because I said it a year ago. That's why people watch my show. They don't want to, this show is not for people to hear what everyone else is saying right now and what everyone else thinks right now. You want to know what everyone else thinks? Watch anyone else. You want to get the information a year in advance about Trump, about Peter Thiel and Palantir, about the war in Iran, about this, you watch my show. People that were watching my show, listening to these arguments, they knew this in November. Now we have the video, and it's 2026 in July, and now it's everybody else still hanging on. Oh no, here's how we could still be proven right. And yeah, I really just want to continue on about this turning point situation. Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson. Wait, we're going to dive in. And yeah, I really just want to continue on about this turning point situation. Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson. So like I said, we've been in this preliminary hearing all week. We've seen a lot of evidence. But the big development today is that according to journalists who were permitted inside the hearing, they say that the prosecution showed a video in the hearing which shows Tyler Robinson taking the shot and killing Charlie Kirk. Now, we don't have the video. The judge has ruled at the request of the defense. So this is Tyler Robinson's attorney said they don't want the video shown to the public. So the judge overruled Erika Kirk and the prosecution. The state wanted the video to go out to the public. The defense said no way. But this is from Benny Johnson. This is a tweet. He, along with Jack Posobiec, Taylor Hansen, among others, these were journalists that were inside the courtroom where it was shown, closed door to some members of the press and the people in the hearing. This is what Benny Johnson said is in the video. He said, quote, "I was at the Charlie Kirk murder trial in Provo, Utah, where Judge Tony Graff called for the attorney for the victim to play a video described as high-definition enhanced version of the security cameras. Multiple new clips, zoom-ins, and red circle enhancements in this video. It showed clear images of Tyler Robinson's Dodge Challenger, license plate, hubcaps, clothing, movements around campus in multiple visits as he stalked Charlie, climbing onto the rooftop, lumbering across the rooftop, laying in a prone sniper position on the Losi rooftop at 12:22 p.m., taking a shot at 12:23 p.m., and fleeing the crime scene. It was so compelling the entire room gasped as the Kirks wept bitterly in the front row and Tyler Robinson looked at the ground. Multiple corporate media reporters in the room described the same video and the same scene." So that speaks for itself. This is Benny Johnson. Jack Posobiec said the same thing. Taylor Hansen said the same thing. Other corporate media said the same thing. Now, we haven't seen it. It's not public. It's not on Twitter. It's not on the internet. And so we can't really make our own judgment until we've seen the video. And presumably, if this case goes to trial, and it will, eventually we will see the video because there is a process. Just like Tyler Robinson eventually made it to this hearing, and just like he made it to the end of it, and the prosecution presented a lot of their evidence, he will enter a plea. The judge will decide whether the case goes forward. There will be a trial, and eventually we're going to see the video. But if this video is as described, then this is just the cherry on top. Let's review the evidence that has been revealed up until this point. They have DNA evidence. They say, the prosecution says, the odds are 1,000,000,000 to 1. 1,000,000,000 to 1. That the major pieces of DNA on the rifle and on the screwdriver used to deconstruct the rifle and on the bullets belongs to Tyler Robinson. They found a soft point 30-06 round on the roof of the Lucy Center where Charlie Kirk was shot from. They found 4 to 5 bullet fragments inside of Charlie Kirk's body. They found the rifle in the woods. It's Tyler Robinson's grandfather's rifle. Not only that, they have security camera footage of Tyler Robinson on the roof, running away. They have security camera footage of him visiting the campus no fewer than 5 times in the lead up to Charlie Kirk's death. They have testimony from his boyfriend, Lance Twiggs. Lance Twiggs relates a story that Tyler Robinson texted him that he did the shooting. Tyler Robinson not only did that, but he texted Lance Twiggs to look under his keyboard for a handwritten note where he confessed to the shooting. Tyler Robinson texted Lance Twiggs about attempting to retrieve his rifle, returning home without it, and then confessing in person to Lance Twiggs. Lance Twiggs said all of this under oath, under the penalty of perjury.
I mean, yeah, this may be true, but then it's even more shady to me because it almost looks like he just planted his own evidence. Look, it was me. I left a note over there. Like, it's so shady. Always with these kind of incidents, after all, that we always read that, like, they were writing things on, like, a Reddit post. They were writing things on, like, a blog online, or they left a note. Kind of suspicious to me, to be honest. And also, like, who is they, Nick? Nick is the whole time talking about they investigate this. They got, like, camera footage of this. That's the government. That's the FBI. Of course, they can fabricate this as well. Like, let's say, and again, I'm not saying that anything what I say is true. I'm just thinking out loud. But let's say that maybe a foreign government was behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Let's say maybe Israel was behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Do you really think that the FBI or our own government, like, that they're gonna throw our greatest ally in front of the bus? No, they will try to do almost everything to cover this up. They will try to, like, create some fake evidence. Like, excuse me, again, like, and I don't want to repeat myself the whole time. This is also the last video I'm gonna make about this whole topic because it really annoys me the way how Nick, that he is just so naive, that he just believes everything what the government or the FBI tells him. Like, let's say a foreign government was not happy with the things Charlie Kirk said and they really wanted to assassinate him. Do you really think that they are letting this go now in the last part, like at the investigation part? No, now they will also try to do almost everything to cover this up. Like, that's just how it goes, in my opinion. And again, I'm not saying that anything what I say is true, but I think it's so naive that you just believe the government with a very suspicious, shady case like this. That's just the only thing I want to add. And of course, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all these people are wrong. Maybe Candace Owens is wrong. But at least these people, they just didn't believe anything what the people told them. I think it's always good to question anybody, to question anyone, also your own government. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, like, this whole case stinks, in my opinion. And again, I don't want to repeat myself the whole time, but this whole case stinks. And I think you are kind of stupid. You are more stupid if you just believe everything what they tell you, instead of, like, that you're going to call these other people that they are stupid because they don't believe everything what has been told to them. I think that's the difference. But again, this is just my opinion. But I don't know. I mean, like, I'm kind of like, I just don't understand why Nick believes everything what the FBI, this whole FBI narrative, I just don't understand that.
This is all the evidence. And then today, we finally, and we haven't seen it ourselves, but finally it's been revealed the prosecution has a video of Tyler Robinson shooting Charlie Kirk. And they say, this is how it's described, it's high definition, enhanced security camera footage, zoom ins, new clips, circle enhancements, showing his car, license plate, his movements, his face, all of it. And so at this point, the burden of proof has shifted onto anybody who has any other theory. What is the evidence at this point that Tyler Robinson did not do it? Is there another murder weapon? There were theories from the beginning that it was a directed energy weapon. Has that been recovered? There were theories that it was explosive material inside of a lav microphone. Has that been recovered? There were theories that he was shot from the side or the back with a palm pistol. Has that been recovered? Answer to all those questions is no. Some people said that Tyler Robinson was not seen on campus, that those were actually decoys. Have those people been identified? Do we know, if not Tyler Robinson, who was wearing the exact same outfit in the stairwell, in the parking garage, walking with a limp? If that person's been identified, what's their name? Can we place them in those places? Can we find those people? Can we figure out their background? As far as we know, they don't exist. The burden of proof has now shifted to anybody else. The state has forensic evidence, DNA evidence, physical evidence, digital evidence, a confession. You actually have maybe the biggest piece of evidence, which is that Tyler Robinson is there. Tyler Robinson turned himself in with his parents. So his parents think he did it. His boyfriend thinks he did it. His boyfriend said he confessed to it. Tyler Robinson himself surrendered peacefully to the police. And at no point, as far as I'm aware, has claimed innocence. He has a legal defense. The legal defense is at this hearing, and they have not challenged any of this evidence other than, in some cases, the methodology. Simply said, can you really rely upon DNA testing, for example? State says, yes, we can actually. It's very sophisticated. And the odds that it was anyone other than Tyler Robinson is 1,000,000,000 to 1. That's maybe your best piece of evidence. And it is, like I said earlier, there is some form of dramatic irony, I think, in all of this. That for 10 months, we have suffered YouTubers and so-called journalists and influencers and conspiracy theorists pulling on every thread, really going crazy with this. I mean, it's one thing to say that maybe someone had prior knowledge of the assassination attempt. I think that's maybe the most likely aspect of it that we don't know about, if there is anything of that nature. But that's not where they stopped. They said it was multiple foreign governments: Egypt, France, Israel, the United States. They said there were body doubles and decoys. They said there were energy weapons. They said they had to dig up the pavement and the grass where Charlie Kirk was killed to hide the explosive residue from his explosive microphone. They said that Egyptian military aircraft were chasing Charlie Kirk across the country for years. They made up stories about how Charlie Kirk was threatened by Netanyahu, that he was offered $200 million to prevent Tucker from speaking at Turning Point, that Charlie sent a letter to Netanyahu pushing Israel away. 10 months we've heard about this kind of stuff. Nonsense. And then even going as far as to say Charlie Kirk was a time traveler. He dreamt of being assassinated. He said he was a time traveler. He knew because he was from the future. He had a device that could see the future. He had psychic abilities. And now here we are a year later. Now we're back to our regularly scheduled programming. And now these people are falling back to earth. And now my thesis is still looking like the most correct one.
Yeah, guys, excuse me, but I'm not even gonna reply to this anymore. Like, this is complete nonsense. Like, I just said everything what I wanted to say. Okay, let me ask you one more question. And imagine, let's say it was Tyler Robinson. Whatever, you believe it's Tyler Robinson. All right, let's say it was Tyler Robinson. What was the whole motive behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk then? Because do you really believe just because Charlie barely talked about transgenders, by the way, sometimes, do you really believe that Tyler Robinson just wanted to like assassinate Charlie Kirk because he said something about his boyfriend/girlfriend? Are you kidding me? That doesn't make any sense to me. And again, of course, Nick, you can try to make fun about all these like time travelers, and you can try to make fun about Candace Owens. At least these people, that's part of an investigation. You will make some mistakes, and of course, you're gonna think about some crazy things. But at least these people, they are still using their brain, and they are just not like slobs who believe everything what the people are telling them. So of course, if you could also like do this investigation yourself. If you think that these people are wrong, prove them wrong. Like, you are also not doing anything. You are just complaining about the people who are trying to investigate this case, and you just believe the FBI narrative. But again, like, that says more about you, Nick, than about all these other people. And just to make fun about these people, it's so wrong. As you guys know, normally, I like Nick. I always agree with him, or most of the times I agree with him. But he is just so wrong on this whole case, and he should even like stop talking about this, because again, he has no clue what is going on. And me as well, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I know, of course, like, I also have no idea what happened, but at least the moral of this whole story is, I just don't believe everything what anyone tells me, even our own government or even the FBI. I think it's okay to have questions, and Nick just believe everything what they tell him. That's like the difference, and then he's gonna call these other people stupid. That says more about him. But yeah, long story short, normally I like Nick, I agree with him, but he is so wrong on this whole case, and I think he should like even not stop talking about this, because he's only destroying his own credibility, and then he's telling that other people are destroying their credibility. I mean, like, and probably people will hate me for saying this. This is all fine. Like, I'm not a hypocrite. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you say that I said something what is wrong, let me know in the comments. If you think that I'm wrong about this whole case as well, let me know why. I'm curious about your opinion. This is the whole like purpose of this channel. I'm not saying that I know anything. I also don't know anything, but at least I don't believe everything what they tell me. So please let me know in the comments. Do you agree with Nick on this one? Do you think what I said is also like true? Do you disagree with me? Please let me know in the comments. It's very important to say. I read all comments. I even try to reply to some of your comments, so I'm very, very curious. As well, guys, if you like this video, please hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. If you really like these kind of videos, consider subscribing. I would appreciate it even more. And then you make sure you don't miss anything. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.